One of the great quotes from Thich Nhat Hanh about love is if you love another person, you give them space to be themselves.
He used to use the metaphor of flower arranging. And if you've ever studied floral arrangement or worked with a floral arrangement, when you first start working with flowers, you usually put them in too tight. And that's when I was in learning how to make floral arrangements. The instructor came over and just pulled the whole bouquet up. And she said each flower needs to have space around it so that each flower can be appreciated. And to me, that says a lot about love and that space that you want to have, and how we tend to push things down too tight or define it too tightly or put all our expectations on the other, um, in a way that just doesn't help either of you. If it's going to be,
Suffocating in a way.
yeah, it's suffocating. If he's going to be my whole reason for being, um, that's a lot.
And that makes me an automatic failure.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
that's the other dilemma with
Yeah,
this
with romantic love.
model.
Mhm.
If we uh, place all this expectation, it could also be a community, an institution. It doesn't have to just be,
Mhm.
but how we place our energy, how we place our expectation,
Mhm.
our intention, and our consciousness um, really can be a journey into deeper spiritual practice when we realize whatever we place, we can't expect.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's to use Angelus Arian's language, it's not being attached to outcome. So I propose to you, but that doesn't mean you will say yes.
Mhm.
Is learning how to live with that. And part of the crisis we have now, in my opinion, around the world is, as a species, we have still not learned how to live with uncertainty. And the uncertainty, the pandemic in particular, has created um, I don't want to say enhance the tendency we have to look for autocracy, uh, law enforcement, some leader, some messiah to solve our problems. We can see this around the world. And so for me, our practice of love, to me, I've learned to include in my practice of love uncertainty.
Because the uncertainty triggers so much anxiety. We want the anxiety to go away. Maybe you have the answer, so I'm going to put all my eggs in your basket.
Right.
And
Yeah.
especially if you tell me you have the answer,
Yeah,
then
right.
I'm going to even believe you even more, right? So I'm going to surrender a lot of that
Right.
Yeah.
sovereignty I
That
have.
sovereignty.
I I used to see couples in marriage therapy that were married 7 or 8 years, and they go in, I don't know what's wrong with us. We've been doing everything that we used to do, and we were doing everything the same, and we're just not doing well. And there was that fix, they'd gotten fixed, and they weren't allowing the other to grow in some way.
Mm.
And so it was really obvious to me that just some growth was getting diminished with how they were practicing love together through no fault of their own. They were doing exactly what they wanted to do their first year of marriage, second year, but you have to keep growing and changing. And so with a partnership love, there has to be that space for that growth and that change, and then having the uncertainty if your partner's growing in a different way than you are, or how you're going to handle that. Um, but yeah, other than fixed, it's just not fixed.